For being here. My name is Yuran Deng, English name Annie, and I'm a proud alumna of Stuyvesant High School. I just wanted to be pretty short and fill in some of the holes that were left by the numerous testimonies we've had today. So, fact. Actually, the Department of Education itself sponsored a study on the SHSAT and found that it is a statistically strong predictor of high school GPA, region scores, and AP scores. They've actually had this study since 2013, but hid it. Because obviously the mayor wanted to do away with the test. Second, New York as a state spends the most per capita on its students than any other state or territory in the nation, actually averaging around $24,000. And the per capita fund at Stuyvesant, only $17K. So we're not actually better funded. Now, the chancellor wants to say that he's not trying to hurt the academic prowess of these schools, but he already has. In the Discovery program that was implemented this year, at Stuyvesant, the lowest score for the students that were admitted in the first round was 560. For the Discovery program for Stuyvesant, the range was from 471 to 485, not even 500. So that's a whole 80 points lower than the lowest point that was admitted in the original class. And what happened to the people who scored in the range between that? You know, what happened to them? They just got lost. They just got forgotten. No, they got discriminated against. Now, we're here to speak specifically on 196-A because whether or not you like the test, the proposal really doesn't work. Why doesn't top 7% from every school work? Well, from the data we found out today in the Massgate article, we found out there are schools in this city where only 2% of the students pass the state math exam, while 93.5% of the same students pass their math classes. So grades are highly inflated, and these schools are not performing. So take that school, only 2% pass their math exam. If you take top 7%, that means there are 5 additional percent of the student at that school will be entering a specialized high school or have the option to without even passing the state math test. So that's not really the type of student you probably want to pass into these schools which are geared towards science and math studies. What does the test test? English and math. Very simple. It's reading. And while some of the math topics are not yet covered in the 8th grade curriculum, that is actually the test that's put on the students. Do you have the extra, what it takes to study on your own and master those areas which you eventually will need to learn anyway in high school? So for the parents who actually invest in their kids to learn the topics that are covered on the SHSAT, it's not just the master test. They're learning ratios, they're learning fractions, they're learning frequency tables. That is actually what I saw on the sample test that is offered in the NYC guide, which is given to students on the specialized high schools. Now, what would happen if we offered the plan that was proposed? Actually, the people actually made models to say what would happen. In this top 7%, it will include actually 500 students with a 1 or a 2 on their math state test, and 400 with only 1 or a 2 on the ELA. So that's maybe like 900 students who are underperforming and maybe needing remedial work at Stuyvesant or the other 7 schools that are tested into. Now, you have to realize that students don't study in a vacuum. It takes time away from the classroom when you have questions that are not at the standard level expected of the whole class, right? So when you introduce students who are unprepared to these schools, you're drawing from the resources, which are already less than the average for the city. And one of the last things I want to mention is I want to draw 2 comparisons. One is with the City College in New York. It was once a beloved college and highly esteemed, called the Harvard of the Poor. And then we had open admissions, which increased diversity, but did not give any credit to merit. And then what happened? Well, now, when I tell somebody that I went to Stuyvesant and I went to City College, people ask me, what happened? which makes me feel like, it's not a good choice just because of the prestige, but also because of just how much credit the school has lost because of its reputation. And the same you can expect for the specialized high schools. These schools don't exist in a vacuum either. Colleges are watching. And when they find out that you have all these students who are not even passing their state exams, and those exams to serious educators are seriously subpar, you are not going to see the same rate of admission. And we already have mentioned a lot of students and families fleeing New York City, actually. And we see that a lot in the communities of Bayside, for example, where the non-specialized high schools have basically been ruined. And also, I see it in my own family, because two of my uncles decided not to come to New York City after all, and decided to go to Orlando, where they believe their students will be having a better education. So please, look at all aspects of these proposals and look at the details in the plan. The proposed plan actually leaves a huge number of seats to just a random lottery. That includes all the students from private schools and Catholic schools, parochial schools, other schools. All the students who do not have the factors that go into their formula go into a random lottery. It doesn't really make any sense, and please, if you want to consider getting rid of the test, then at least find a better alternative first.